If a watch proves a watchmaker, what does a living creature prove? William Paley thought the answer was obvious. It proves God. Paley argued that if you stumbled across a stone, you wouldn't necessarily assume it had been designed with a purpose. I mean, it's just a stone. But if you happened upon an old-fashioned watch, you'd think because of its complexity, it couldn't have come together by chance, but must have been designed by an intelligent mind. If this is true for the watch, what about something as intricate as the eye? This is even more complex and could only have been designed, Paley concludes, by God. Paley's supporters found this comforting, a world with purpose and intention, but what if that comfort was built on an illusion? What if the design isn't perfect at all? There are many features of the world that Paley couldn't explain so neatly. Did you know the retina in our eye is installed back to front? The nerves from our photoreceptors need to travel to the brain, but because they're positioned the wrong way, they have to come out into the eye and then turn around. This causes a blind spot at the site where they collect together at the optic nerve. Is there a reason God could not have positioned our retinas properly? Maybe, but octopus eyes have evolved independently of human eyes, and they don't have a blind spot because their retinas point the right way. For Paley, this is an example we'll quietly ignore. For Charles Darwin, this is a marvellous case of how evolution has worked around an imperfection to produce incredible vision. The problem with Paley's position is that he is arguing against chance, but Darwin didn't just replace God with chance, he found a third way, a natural process. Tiny variations, generation after generation, the most advantageous traits selected by nature, like a blind craftsman refining his design over time. But if evolution explains complexity so neatly, does that mean Paley was simply wrong? Not necessarily. He does, after all, persuasively argue against chance. Nonetheless, one might accuse Paley of being selective with data, but how could he respond? He does, in fact, argue that apparent flaws in nature wouldn't disprove his conclusion of design. If your watch stopped working, you wouldn't think, oh, I guess it was never designed in the first place. And while that's a good point, if the same watchmaker routinely made faulty watches, we would surely be at liberty to question their competence. Have you heard of the vagus nerve in a giraffe's neck? The nerve travels to the larynx from the brain, but as the giraffe's neck has got longer, it's taken a pointless detour to loop around the heart. Would a perfect designer really build that way? And there are plenty more oddities: the appendix, flightless birds, the occasional odd plumbing job. If we accept Paley's conclusion, wouldn't we have to conclude from all of the unintelligent design that God is sort of a bad creator? In the end, Paley and Darwin might not have been so far apart, both trying to make sense of our amazing world, just disagreeing on who to thank for it. So maybe Paley wasn't wrong, just looking for answers in the wrong place. If you enjoyed this one, subscribe for more or visit untangledphilosophy.com. Thanks for watching and see you next time.